what happened? What was Jesus' life like in those ages that aren't in the scriptures? What age was that? Like
He was a carpenter.
no, from 12 to like 33 or something that they don't have in the Bible. Am I correct about that or wrong?
You gotta ask him out.
Y'all read the Bibles, right? Y'all.
I mean, so did you. So did he.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
I'm
is,
not a theologian, so I'm
Well,
not.
I'm
You're
saying-
not
I mean,
you're
neither
not
am I.
gonna see me.
if I'm not mistaken, right? When I read the Bible in my days,
It's too much to remember.
but what I'm saying is, it's a certain time that's not in the Bible. It skips. It's
Of
like
his life?
Yeah, where it talk about some I don't.
Okay, let's just say that were the case, and of course I'll go
Because
back and
there's called
fact
law
check you.
scrolls. Have you heard about law scriptures? Have you heard
The
about
law scrolls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, there are scriptures
The
that,
Book of Enoch.
but it's so many scriptures that was in this Bible that have been altered throughout time, that have been corrupted throughout time, and the era that you have been consuming this message now has been corrupted in tenfold. So what I'm saying is, because you have an intimate relationship with something that's benefiting you, that's the thing that people can't get past, is that because this is benefiting me, it's almighty and it should benefit you. But what it is though is, from what I'm saying is, I grew up in religion, right? But what I'm saying is, I have not come across a church where it was showing you that, okay, this is just showing you a structure and there's another level to this. It was just come here every Sunday, tithe, and be a good person and do the best
But
you can.
what's the other level that you're looking for?
No, but then this is what I'm saying. Because the etymology of religion, what I believe it's divine, is your power of your true God being spirituality. And what I'm saying is, that's how I felt, not knowing. In hindsight, when I got out of religion, I felt like I was a little binded. Now I'm free to learn things without being so judgmental, without looking at stuff so black and white, without thinking. And the more I start learning about things that weren't true, that were taught to me about the Bible, and what I mean by not true, I'm just talking about like you said something that was important that hit me. You said certain things have a divine interpretation, meaning like you read it and it's something you have a high understanding about, right? That same thing that you speak of, I had that same feeling when I was learning stuff that was outside the Bible. But that's not something that I can ever get you to believe that. That's something
That's not true. You can't get me to believe it. Not that it didn't happen, but just me in general.
Yeah, because we have two different.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if somebody was looking at us both, right, and let's say that is a higher power, right? Let's say, because I believe it's a higher power. You know what I'm saying? I just don't believe it's interpreted the way that it was taught to you. I don't believe in I believe it was somebody special, but I don't believe in no superhero that never did nothing wrong. Nah, I don't believe that, because when I read the Law Scrolls, they said that Jesus murdered a nigga when he was young and brought him back to life.
So your challenge is, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Your challenge is more so with the institution of religion, not spirituality. Your challenge is with the prophets, the Muhammads, the Jesus, and not God per se.
Nah, because I know God is real, but God is balanced. See, that's what I'm saying.
So it's a religion then. So you don't like religion, but you're cool with spirituality.
I love spirituality. Spirituality is what keeps me going, because it's things now, and when I'm talking about higher power, bro, I'm talking about enlightenment. I'm not calling things black magic. You know, I'm not using terminology that's gonna keep me from learning about it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, there's things that once you learn about it, it empowers you, bro.
Can you go back to the God is balanced thing? Just help me. I didn't
God is
know.
balanced, bro.
But see,
No, I'm just
Real
can you
quick,
elaborate on that, because I'm not following that.
real quick. For me, where I think is the easiest and simplest way I could put it is, religion for me is the interpretation of spirituality. I think regardless of whether you know about religion or not, you have religion or not, you're connected to life.
Religion is the interpretation of spirituality.
To me,
Walk it through.
that's what Christianity is, or the different denominations, or Islam, or any other religion. You know what I'm saying? It's how people perceive life. From we talking about higher powers. Guidelines to live by, how we connect to life, you know what I'm saying, how we should walk, talk, act, treat each other, stuff like that. It's all just our different interpretations of what we were kind of born into anyway.
So people were spiritual first, and the byproduct of their spirituality became religion.
You can be atheist,
I believe that.
and that's why you can look at somebody like, why people that are atheists are perceived to be negative. It's different reasons why. In America, it's a pro-Christian country, in a sense, or has been traditionally, right? So atheist has always been a negative term when we was taught when we were growing up. That don't mean that person's less connected to life. You're alive.
But atheists don't believe in God.
So they don't believe.
But that doesn't mean
power.
that doesn't mean that the belief is valid or true. I'm not saying that they're
And
right.
it definitely doesn't mean that they're not good people.
That too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
But
you know,
the belief is part of the connection. If you don't believe in God,
to an
then-
extent, right?
right,
That's
it
why it's a
doesn't
lim- I
matter.
think that's a limited connection.
But that's what I'm saying. The interpretation, I believe, is semantics, right? But I think the truth is about the effectiveness in your life, whatever works for you. But what I'm saying is, you asked why I say God is balanced, right?
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
Okay,
either.
what I'm saying, because this is what I'm saying. If I believe that I am a God, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not going to subscribe to a religion that tells me that I shall not kill a man when Jesus and God did smite people. You know what I'm saying? Or it tells me that I can't go out here and live life in abundance when there's people that have lived in abundance and had passes with Jesus Christ and all that. See, it's contradictions that are not balanced. And what I'm saying is, when you live life on a spiritual note, there's some days that you're going to have to whoop some ass. There's some days that you're going to have to love hard. You know what I'm saying? But Christianity tells you, no, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not. No, circumstances make you have to make certain decisions that a religion will tell you that are imbalanced, but it really is really balanced in the motherfucker. And that's why that reaction with the people in church, some people would say that was imbalanced. But when you being oppressed and you being hustled and you being finessed, that's
Especially
a real
outside of the
balance.
church, you don't want to come into the church.
But that's a
and feel the
balanced
same
reaction.
thing.
When is enough?
Right.
When is enough? You're raping the people. You're raping the people because
Wholeheartedly
But
agree.
to kind of shift the church into a different situation, let's talk about the economic and financial accountability that needs to come with like the Christian church and how we perceive it and what we're talking about. The spiritual connection and the word and how we interpret it, that's one part. What about the church's role in the community? What is it, its report card in that regard?
What is it supposed to be,
Or,
or what is it?
I say what is it supposed to be?
Oh, it's a cash cow. It is a
How is it
bottomless pit.
benefited? Right, and it's so how
it
is
has to
it?
be destroyed.
Where
right?
is the accountability
I mean-
of that here? So it's different ways to look at religion because of how it functions. It all doesn't function just inside the church with him preaching. Some money flowing through that. Where that money going?
You just
What you
made
doing with it?
in preachers' pockets. Ask Creflo Dollar. You asked, so it has to be destroyed. Yeah, people been trying to destroy it since the beginning of time. Ain't gone nowhere. Right?
No, but that's what I'm
But-
saying.
Well,
Destroy
listen,
it mentally.
We're
That's what
talking
I'm
about, but you can't. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Why I believe that we're over here fighting terrorism, but it's pointless. You will never kill an ideal. It'll never
But
happen.
that's still perception. For one person's terrorism, what is another person's freedom fighter? Like, how can we
It's all
ever
perspective.
say
It's all perspective.
that they're terrorists in the first place?
That's right.
It's just like saying a woman can't preach.
It's all perspective.
It's all
man.
perspective.
Y'all believe
I'm
in
only
the power
going
of
by
faith,
what I was-
right? Y'all believe in the power of faith,
As
right?
do you.
Yes, we all do, right? So what I'm saying is, do y'all believe that? Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a scenario. You tell me if it's impossible. Okay, let's say somebody has a routine that they do before they go to work. They rub this little lamp, right? They don't worship the lamp or whatever. But every day before they go to school, they leave out the house, they rub this lamp. And every day they do that, they have a great day. The one day that they don't rub the lamp, it's the bad day they ever had, right? So now they like, I'm never going to not leave the house and not rub this lamp. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, the belief in that, it might seem to everybody else that it's crazy, but that person's belief in that had made it real to their reality.
Absolutely.
So, but this is what I'm
Absolutely.
saying, and this is what
Now,
I'm
that's
saying.
powerful.
Hold up.
It is.
Now imagine
That
you
was
get
powerful. So,
20,000 people all believing in one thing. It doesn't matter what I'm saying; it's real.
Right.
So
That's what I'm talking about,
so hold
pimp
on.
shit
So
and
this is
hoe
what I'm
shit.
trying to tell you. How are we not gods if I'm telling you that the power of what we believe in is creating a reality?
It's a creating that reality in your own mind.
Right.
That might not be, but that might not be my reality.
No, but
Or it
that's
might
what,
be.
that's where
That's
they
what he's
call
talking
it
about.
alternate split dimensions and stuff. Cause we don't all live in the same world. We just share this little time. But what I'm saying is we don't live the same experience.
Right.
No, we don't.
So, and what I'm saying is that's due to the powers and interpretation of the powers that we have. Some people don't know about the powers
That's
that they
spirit.
have.
That's above religion. Right?
And that's
All
what
the
I'm
stuff
saying.
you're talking about is outside
Yeah,
of
see,
it.
Mhm, right.
We've transitioned past religion to spiritual.
Right.
Spiritual,
And
yeah.
that's
That's
why
what
this
I'm
is
on.
right.
That's what I want to make that clear about what I'm on, because I'm not an atheist. I'm not somebody that don't believe in God. I believe in God. I just don't
And that's
believe
where
in
when somebody says they don't go to
idols.
church or they don't practice a religion, people, it's just a lack of understanding. I think they have no connection with any type of spiritual connection
Right, because
to
a
a
lot-
higher power of the life. And
Right,
it's not true.
because a lot
It's
of
just the
people-
interpretation isn't any of these religions that you all practice.
Yeah.
Right, because a lot of people are sleepwalking in the sense of they don't take the time to do the homework to figure out what they actually believe.
That's what I
Right.
So I think that's the challenge that you
Because they're using the word practice all in speech and not in effort.
exactly. So like people can say
Deeds.
I believe, but if you then don't engage and put forth the effort, the actions, the necessary level of participation in life to offer value to people, then what you tell me doesn't matter. I can tell you I love you. If I smack the hell out of you every day, I'm showing you otherwise.
It's tough love.
I was thinking about this earlier, right? Like I was thinking about cheating. You know, since we're talking about religion, we'll use it within like the Christian church.
Like
and
cheating
whatnot,
on a game or getting
No, like
close to a significant
affairs and in regards to relationships. And it's like think about it. Like if people know that they practice a religion and they know it's a higher power than God is going to judge them, why wouldn't that scare them enough to where that they didn't have to cheat or wouldn't do certain things that they really can control, that they really can not do? But it's a process where you feel like you can pray for forgiveness.
Mhm.
Or that you can be, you can kind of rectify the situation after you've made the mistake. But you're going to be judged by your behavior. So
Absolutely, and I think that's a great point. That
I don't
a lot of people
understand.
forget that.
if
Now,
you're cheating, why are you cheating?
the
and
Bible-
then still going to church?
The Bible teaches us. The Bible teaches us that the wages of sin is death. So that means every sin that I commit, the consequence of that, something will die. It don't mean that somebody I'm going to die, somebody I know going to die. Potential could die. Opportunity might die. But it says the wages of sin is death. So for you to think that you can just go out, and that's another reason why I have a problem with the prosperity gospel. It teaches, God, you know what?
Obviously, I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't add up.
It doesn't teach you how to really invest into your behavior and how your words
It's
and
all
your actions
about what can I
align.
get. God didn't send His Son down the cross for you to have material things. The Bible states that it will be easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than the rich man.
Man, that's your
Get-
interpretation.
But
dog.
here's
You
my.
talking
So
about-
here's interpret it then for me, Mr. Scholar. Interpret that.
That's your interpretation. of the
Interpret that scripture.
No, I'm just talking about your interpretation. Because you keep going back to the prosperity gospel as if it doesn't offer value to people who listen to it. It's
And
all
what-
perspective.
But here's my thing, though.
If
bro.
I'm in a space
it's
of
a
my-
subset of the gospel. You're supposed to believe in the
That's
whole
what you
gospel.
say. That's what you say,
The
though.
prosperity
It's
is
the
a
same- it's
But
the
here's my
same
thing, though.
perception.
Here's my thing. What are we talking about prosperity in?
See, you're an ideologue when
Wealth?
it comes to this. You're an ideologue when it comes to this. Like, to
Wealth?
you, it's very...
Yeah, boy.
You
yeah,
have
you know,
these
I
very
take back
binary-
what I said. When I say I think we think with our own thoughts. Nah, dog, they got you, dog.
Hey, look, and
so
you look
for
blind and
Christ I
sick.
live, for Christ I die.
No, but it's not...
All day.
Why
It's not
Jesus
cliche.
Why Jesus need a gangbanger? Why Jesus need a gang?
Jesus
Why you
need a gang-
Hold on
gangbanging
for a
for
second
JC?
before we...
You the one who said he murdered somebody.
He did.
Come
So
on,
you want
man.
me
He
to-
smited people.
Come on,
So
man.
look.
Jesus smited somebody? What we talking about, God?
So look, man.
Hold on.
God, Old Testament.
focus.
Correct.
So let's
Judgment.
Let's stay on it because this actually has this has actually bothered me in the sense, not for real bother, but as I
In
wrestle with thoughts of
conversation.
when I wrestle with thoughts of
It'll
consequence,
make you think.
Simple with talk.
it does it, but it hasn't made you think
Absolutely.
because you can. But you're okay with that.
I'm totally okay
But
with
see,
it.
and
And, that's why religion is
No, but see,
fucked
but
up
see,
on the
and
way.
see, and see-
Because you're supposed to always want to search, bro. You shouldn't be saying, I'm fine with not knowing
And see-
that. Like,
I'm
speak
no, but
on
no,
the-
here's the thing though. It's not that I'm fine without knowing it. That's just like I went out and researched horrors. I could have been like, screw that. What do I need to know that for?
Right,
but
right.
no,
So
I don't
I
need to
wouldn't
go
say that
out
that's true.
and
You don't
research
research
that.
that.
But I
That's
just
the
don't
whole
believe
purpose
it.
of bringing
But
it back
no,
and
because I was
gunshot.
really curious. You said that Jesus was a remake.
Yeah.
You said research
Stories been
horrors.
told 7,
You said
9
research
times.
horrors. Well, according to my findings, there was nothing that was
Similar?
that was similar
Okay.
in any comparison
you
to
said it
Jesus
was
Christ.
Greek. You said it was Greek mythology, though. So I think you looked at the
But
wrong one.
I mean, I looked at the wrong one.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you did.
So
Yeah.
Research it.
my proposal
Look at
is
wars.
that you still you're an ideologue when it comes to the thought process, which is perfectly fine. I believe what I believe too, but I'm also suggesting that you can't take something like the prosperity gospel because in your mind, Joel Osteen's a prosperity preacher, right?
Absolutely.
So when Joel Osteen talks, for the people who are in that particular moment in their lives, wherever they may be, Joel Osteen is spitting nothing but truth nuggets, right? He giving them what they need at that particular moment in time. And if that's to say, you know, God is going to bless
It's
you. and you
motivational
have to-
speaking.
Yeah, that's all it is.
People can be touched through words
It's pep
different
rallies.
ways.
Right,
It's,
so
it's motivational speaking, but it's masquerade as a pastor. Now here's a man. That's
on every
How do you?
But that's no. What's the difference
Here's a
between that
man
and
that
any other
said
preacher?
on national TV, right, that there's many ways to Jesus.
Right. I mean, but
But you believe that though.
Well, again,
I
so
believe it.
I don't operate off of belief.
so is there many ways? Are you talking about again? Let's differentiate. Are you talking many ways to Jesus or many ways to God?
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about?
No, he said Jesus. That's what I'm saying.
You said Jesus.
Yeah.
I also believe that there are many ways to God. There are 1,000 different ways to climb a mountain.
Yeah, man.
When you get to the top of that mountain, the view is
You
the same.
disagree. You
So,
disagree.
but
Oh, you
here's my thing.
disagree.
You're-
I would
you're-
You definitely
absolutely.
disagree.
see, and that's what one way.
So
way.
you're saying-
Here's my. I'm just going off of my book. My book tells
That's
me
what I'm saying,
that
it's all
no man
perception.
comes to the Father but by
So-
me. And if
so-
you telling
so-
me that your book is my book, you would have the same belief because it strictly states that in the text. Now you just
Alright,
don't believe
let
what
me
I
say-
believe.
let me
This
say
same
something. Let me
book
say
says
something. Let me say
everybody's in connection with
Hold
God
on,
is
let me
different.
say something. From a wisdom standpoint, from a knowledge information standpoint, right? When we get into religious and spiritual conversations, we see how it gets us emotionally charged, right?
Right.
And I think one thing that religion is a lot more based on is emotion and faith and belief, which is somewhat, I'm not gonna say the manipulation of the different ways that the Bible can be perceived, but just the simple ways that people can perceive it and trying to bottle that into a direction which is a religion, right? Where with spirituality, to me, regardless of what you think or feel or believe, it don't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna really hold it against you because I benefit nothing from that. And especially when we talk about this often, how religion doesn't galvanize us, it divides
Yeah,
us.
and that's what's scary.
Because to me, all right, we can have this conversation, get past that, and we can work on building a show together.
And that's
we can
exactly-
work together economically.
Absolutely.
Why can't we do that? If we're all religious people and are seeking this wisdom and understanding, how is the church, I'm talking about being accountable in different
Right.
ways, not the place where we come together to do what's best for
And
ourselves.
it is. So this I want to go back to your point because I believe in Jesus. I read the Bible too. I believe in the whole stuff, and I know we almost out of time.
Mhm.
But it's this
We're like
element.
part 8 to this point.
But it's that element of. So hold on for a second. It's that element of. When I think about our journey from a biblical perspective, I believe that Jesus came down on the cross for us. That's what I believe, right? So I believe that I'm gonna go to heaven if I die right now. And you can say it's fairy tale, which is fine. I don't know. He
This
says it's
dude,
fairy
man,
tale.
the side comments,
But which is
Being petty, man.
But hold on.
But hey, look, like I said,
Let me carry this thought through. Because then once you believe that, so while I believe what I believe, that my way to God is through Jesus, who am I to say that somebody who practices something else can't get to God
That's a
another
more
way?
universal
Yes.
level of understanding.
Yes.
So I'm
So
gonna
that's why I tell you that-
differences.
How can
The
you
idea-
subscribe to a religion one religion with that thought process? Though?
He's clearly smarter than his
No,
religion.
that's why you don't practice a religion.
But
I'm
man,
not,
so
but
he's
I know-
smarter than his religion.
What I'm
so
saying-
does
what
that
I'm
put
saying
him
is-
above God?
It'll put you above
Ain't
that
nobody
religion.
said exactly.
Nobody
How
said
you
what you
see,
just
you skipped a
said.
step.
No, but I'm asking you
Skip a step.
a valid
That's a
question.
valid question.
What you just said was so monumental.
But he's been saying that. Have you been people?
No,
been
he's
saying
been
that.
saying.
No, he's been saying it. But what I'm
he's
saying,
saying
but
that.
he also says, but I believe in Jesus Christ and that. But what I'm saying is,
So what you're saying is he's contradicting himself.
how in some way, because what I'm saying
Interesting.
is, how
It's
can you?
conflicted. I'm not gonna say
It's extremely
contradictory.
conflicted.
It's conflicted.
And if
but-
I may, my
But
friend,
he's entitled to
he's
it.
entitled. But that's what I'm saying. He's entitled to it. If
That's
I
all
may,
I'm saying.
John
Just like you-
14:6, right?
God.
No man coming to the Father but by me. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. So if that's John 14:6, and we all like to use it, oh, it was in the Old Testament. But guess what? The New Testament is now revealed.
not
John
part of
chapter
it. We just
14,
don't.
verse 6. If Jesus Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, no man come to the Father but by me.
Yeah.
How
See-
can you,
see,
as a Christian,
yeah.
say that
I
there are
can,
many
I
ways
can,
to
let me
God?
answer that. Don't say
That's
that.
what I
Don't
wanna
say
know.
nothing. Don't say nothing.
Play Johnny
Let me answer that.
Play
See,
Johnny.
he's able to understand that you can perceive something outside of a religion being the paramount or universal, supreme law in a sense.
But you're not
Yeah, then we
understanding
don't
what
believe
we're
the
just
same
watching
thing.
right here. We're
Mhm.
watching the dynamic of the destruction of the church.
Right. That's
So
exactly right.
So what you're saying is, this, I'm telling you right now, this brother has an enormous amount of intellect that's beyond that book. But he'll come across other people like you
Right.
in the church to be like, "You're not a real Christian. Take your Christian badge off," and then take you down a notch. Cause you,
I mean, I wouldn't go that
I
far.
wouldn't go that far.
Let's be serious.
I'm
But
talking
it
about
has
come on,
happened to
man.
me,
But it
though.
happens. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
So, but, and this is what I'm saying.
Some of the most judgmental
Because
people
It
I've ever
should never
heard.
be so.
Absolutely.
But that should show you that there's a flaw in this. There's a flaw in this.
No,
There's
but
a
no,
major
it
flaw.
should show you that it's all subjective. If that's how he want to view it, and that's my
Yeah.
point. If he wants to see it that way,
Yeah.
it's cool. He can understand that he can feel that Jesus died on the cross, to save his sins and whatnot, and still understand other things no differently than he can feel about it or see it the way he
You know
does.
what I believe?
And
Let me say
I'm
what I
going to say another thing. I think another thing, and that's a major problem with Christianity. We're extremely judgmental, and we get caught up in hating the person, right, and not necessarily hating the sin. They're sinning me, they're sinning you, right? But the Bible says we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual power, spiritual wickedness in high places. So my issue
One
is
thing-
not necessarily with you.
I get right, but to not,
You see what I'm saying?
but to not, right. So a spiritual person cannot reference verses in scriptures. They can understand concepts like balance. My deeds got a way out. You know what I'm saying? So instead of it's different ways that it's all perceived.
See,
that
that's
they
what
work
we
for.
have divergent thoughts.
Right, and that's the beautiful part about
But
it.
this is what I'm trying to say. This
Because I can't, I don't know about y'all, but I can't do it on my own. So.
no,
said anything
Nobody's
about
saying that.
Nobody,
Balance isn't
nobody in this
excluding
room
God.
said that they're doing it alone. Nobody.
That's what I'm saying. It's
When
a
I
different
said I'm
perception.
God, I said I'm connected to a higher power. I'm
But
telling-
you are a God.
Yes, because if I'm created,
In
your
his
book
image.
tells you that
I'm
you're created in
created in
his
his
image.
image. So that's
How
not
are you
being
not?
God.
How are you
It's
not
not making
aspiring?
me a God.
Are you
Well, I'm
aspiring
created-
to be God-like?
I'm aspiring to be like Jesus, not
That's
like God.
That's
So it's
now,
interpretation.
hold on. It's interpretation.
Yeah, I'm about to say
But
some
this
people
is
believe
how
Jesus is God.
this is how some people can view and understand and have a perception of how religion is weaponized to control
Come
you.
on, son, you can't see it. It's happening right
You
here
just
with
added in the
y'all.
middleman that
Bro,
Jesus
y'all
is
still
between
believe it.
God.
You can talk
Y'all.
to you blue in the face.
No, I know I ain't gonna change you, bro.
Right.
I'm just doing this for the
And
people out there.
eventually you gonna come over too. It might
Never.
be towards the
I can't.
end.
No, listen.
might be towards the
Listen.
end. You'll
I was
see
at
that.
the dark side before, right? I will never go back. Let me tell you why I would never go
You-
back.
you had to expect that.
Yeah.
You
No,
asked
I'm gonna
that.
tell you why I would never
You
go
asked
back.
that.
The water right there, bro.
Yeah.
Water
Oh,
right there.
okay.
You knew that was
No, I would never go back, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, I was so judgmental, bro. And the thing about it
But
is,
that's
that was
a
so
heart
subjective
condition.
on your part. That is not
Thank
a
you.
that is not axiomatic of all people with
Damn.
that
no,
Christian
okay,
faith.
okay, we didn't have to talk about that. Let me tell you about unnecessary pressure. Trying to live up to
That you felt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's all subjective.
Why we, no, listen,
That's what- that's what
listen,
it is.
you
You just said
You're
it.
trying to be like Jesus, right?
Correct.
That's not a certain amount of pressure. If you're really aspiring to be Jesus, like you're not putting an expectation on
The
yourself.
only pressure that I'm talking about me micro level now. The only pressure that I feel are those that I put on myself. It's not coming from external sources. So when you say it's conflicted, we're all these
But see,
these
that's what
multifaceted
Because
beings
you
that
have a
think-
set of
You're
standards.
actually above religion. You just don't know it.
I'm not saying
You just don't know.
I can see that
don't think
perception.
you don't know that you're
I
above
can see that
religion.
perception.
I think you have transcended above religion. You just haven't accepted it yet. I don't think you accepted it. I
But
don't
my-
think you
That's
feel.
why some of the things you say sound conflicted because you
So you saying you're a Christian. So here's my
You're
point.
above
Now,
religion.
watch this
You're
here.
above it.
But yet he's saying, based off of what you've been saying, that you've transcended religion.
That's how
So
it's
you're
supposed
out
to
of
be.
Christianity.
That's how it's
But I'm
supposed
saying
to be.
that's how he's interpreting what you've been saying.
which is fine.
Bro, listen what I'm trying to tell you. It's
The
certain
interpretation
things.
of what I said is okay, whether or not
It's
because you gotta
how
believe
read
what
it.
you believe.
Yeah.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, it's certain things that the Bible has told me. This is what I mean by pressure. That the Bible has told me that if I do these things, or if I think in these ways, or if I move like this, I am wrong, and I am using your word, sinning. Right? Well, after I let go of that, right? What made me let go was the inconsistencies that I was reading, dog. And I'm like, I have to do some more.